Hi guys, I'm Faith. Welcome to my channel. So today I am really excited because I received the reports from my beta readers. Those of you that have been watching my channel know that after each chemotherapy treatment, I've been treating myself. And after chemotherapy number 3, I treated myself to hiring beta readers from FIVERR to critique my novel. I'll start by saying that I was satisfied with the service from both readers. It was clear that both readers took the time to read my entire novel, and they provided a detailed and thorough report with specifics about my manuscript. However, each beta reader had a vastly different opinion about my novel. And by vast, I mean basically polar opposites. If you talked to each of them separately, you wouldn't have thought that they read the same book. Yeah, not really sure what to do with that, but I'm figuring it out. And I'm gonna tell you what each of them said about my plot and my characters. First, I will start with Grace. Grace is an 18-year-old college student who is studying mathematics, and she loves reading young adult books, so she is beta reading on the side to make some extra cash. So now I'm going to read to you what Grace had to say about my plot. Overall, I loved this story. It was so sharp, charismatic, and super unique. It's a YA contemporary, but so much more. It has a sci-fi edge, which is super cool, and I just love the modern feel you put on this romance. I had so much fun reading this. The plot felt cohesive, everything was wrapped up nicely at the end, which I loved. It was an easy story to follow and be engaged with right from the start. You didn't rush anything or drag anything on too long. I thought it was paced really well. I loved the way you wrote this story more than anything, though. It was simple in style, but so witty, well-timed, and very vivid. Huge well done here. I can't even tell you guys how good it feels to hear somebody say all of these compliments about my book, especially someone in my target audience that reads a lot of YA. It just means so much to me, and oh my God, I'm gonna be a total dork right now because I am so excited. So now let's move on to Markella and see what she thought about my plot. So Markella didn't tell me her age, but she said that she's been reading YA for about 20 years, so I would guess that she's in her 30s, and according to her profile, she loves to read, sew, and write. I'm gonna read to you what Markella said about my plot. The plot was non-existent for me. Ouch, that might be more brutal than chemotherapy. That hurts. Should I read more? Things happened, but it didn't feel like a cohesive story when it comes to plot progression. The pacing was slow due to the concentration on Ethan's and Jenna's relationship in the beginning. That's the opposite of what Grace said, so I'm a little confused here. I do agree that the beginning of the book is more character-driven. I didn't want this story to be insta-love. I wanted to really show Jenna and Ethan's connection and relationship and how it grew. So in the beginning, it is more focused on them getting to know each other in their relationship. However, the plot does begin, and there are some action scenes in the beginning, although that does pick up pace later on. I thought it was enough action to keep the reader interested, but I'll take a look at that again because clearly this reader didn't feel that way. So I'll have to take a look at it and see if there's anything that I can move forward to make more action take place in the beginning of the book. Let's get back to Grace. I like Grace. And let's see what Grace has to say about my characters. Characters are some of my favorites I've read in a long time. They were all so unique, and the story wouldn't have felt the same without each of them. You've really given each character their own voice and story within this, which I loved seeing unravel. Quite frankly, the only improvements I would want to make is that I just wish we saw more of them. Clearly the story surrounds Ethan and Jenna, which I'll cover in more detail next, but I just love the side characters so much as well that I would have liked to seen more from each, people like Shavaya, Alex, and Tab, just to name a few. I loved Ethan as our main character. His development over the course of the book was just so good to read, and it really gave the end of the story that heartwarming feel. I just loved it. The way you represented his disability also felt sensitive, yet insightful, as his perspective felt so realistic, and you could really feel how he was feeling throughout. He also had such a lighthearted, blunt, and witty trait to his personality, which I thought was so fun. The conversations he had with Jenna just cracked me up. And I love how we started to see the confidence shining through from the very beginning. His journey overall was just so good to read, and I loved every moment of it. Yeah, that's right. I am a good writer. I'm pretty good. Yeah, I'm good. Let's read what Grace has to say about my other main character, Jenna. Jenna was definitely my favorite character throughout. She is unlike any character I've ever read before. She took honesty and creativity to a whole new level, and I just love that unique style she brought to the story. Her confrontational and carefree nature just felt so strong throughout the story, and I also thought she went through so much development, yet it was subtle and progressive as we went through the story. The relationship between Ethan and Jenna just felt so realistic too. It was mature but romantic and honest. It had depth and so much progression on its own. You still managed to keep it super current though. Their relationship sat in line with what I can imagine happening to my friends, and the little quirks they shared felt super modern too. I just think you really nailed the romance part of the story. I felt like I could read it and just fall in love with the romance all over again. That is awesome. That's exactly how I wanted people to feel about my characters, so that's amazing. Now let's see what Markella had to say about my characters. Go. The characters' voices were distinct, and I could tell whose part I was reading, even if I didn't look at the title that tells me. The characters were pretty steady. I think your distinct ability is writing distinct characters. Good so far. Ethan was the most realistic character. He was kind and thoughtful, but I could also see how he was frustrated with his life and the way he was. He had the best story arc. Jenna was dynamic, there's no doubt. However, she was a bit of a Mary Sue. I'm not like other girls. No one understands me because I'm so quirky. She was quirky, but at points it felt like too much. She had no real emotions. It was so over the top. This is also the opposite of what Grace said, because she's saying that this character was not unique, and Grace was saying she was such a unique character. So again, I'm confused, but I will definitely take a look at that and see why Markella was perceiving it that way. It was refreshing to read a girl in the book that didn't put other girls down and put her friendships first. And I'm glad Markella noticed that, because that was important to me, especially for YA literature, because I'm all about women lifting up other women, and I think that that needs to start at a young age. So I wanted to make sure that my main character demonstrated that characteristic. Now we're going to get to what needed improvements. So we'll start with Grace. Mainly, I would have liked to have read more and more. It's the type of story you never want to end, which although is frustrating to get to the end of, it makes for a really great book. But the moments I've listed are questions I had after reading or would like to have seen more of specifically. So I'm not going to go into the specifics that she mentioned because there's a few bullet points here and you're not going to know what it means because you don't know about these specific scenes. But basically, she really enjoyed the book, but there were a few subplots that she wanted to see tied together more, and there were a few characters that she wanted me to elaborate on more and to know more about because she was just enjoying their stories so much. So I will definitely take a look at that as well. The other thing that Grace mentioned is that she felt that the title of the book needs to change. And after she said that, I started thinking more and more about it. And I think that I came up with a new title. I'm not going to share it today because I want to sit on it for a few days, but I want to thank Grace for mentioning to think of a new title, because of the new title that I just thought of is fire compared to the last title. So I'm really excited about it. Okay, so let's take a look at Markella's suggestions for how to improve my novel. Okay, this is so long, I don't even think I could read all of this. Okay, so a lot of this is very specific, so I'm not going to get too into everything here because like I said, you guys haven't read it, so all these specific details aren't going to mean anything to you. But there's a few scenes that she wanted me to delete. She didn't like the mind merge scene. She didn't like the app that I created, which is kind of a futuristic app, Mind Reel. She wants that deleted. She wants me to tone Jenna down. She wants me to have Jenna and Ethan working together to solve a mystery instead of them just falling in love in the first part of the book. There's a lot of suggestions here, and some of them are interesting, and I will definitely take them all into consideration. And I appreciate her taking the time to think so deeply about my novel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few days to let it all soak in, and then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to reread all of their suggestions again. And then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do some revisions. And I'm definitely going to take both of their perspectives into consideration as I decide what I want to leave and what I want to revise. I feel that both of my beta readers really did try their best, and they both gave me their honest perspectives on my novel, and I appreciate that very much. And I definitely think that doing this is going to make my novel better, and it's going to help me grow and improve as a writer and a person, because we all have to learn how to take criticism and how to learn how to use that to improve, not become defensive about it, but use it to improve. And I want to improve and make my novel the best it can be. I want to be the best writer I can be. So I'm very excited to get this feedback. Thank you for watching my video. I appreciate you all. I appreciate your support. If you want to continue to follow my journey as I kick cancer's butt and get my book published, because I will get this book published one day and I will be successful because I am not giving up. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will catch up with you guys later. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought of this video.